No one talk. All right. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Before we get started, if everyone can just kind of push forward. I know no one's here right now, but we're expecting people to come in later, so just make some space for everyone. We have our vendors in the back for today. We have Kovo Coffee, S, Adil Art, and Moza. So please support our vendors. By supporting our vendors, you're also supporting Pathways. Today's speaker is Brother Kareem Elsayed. He is a learning and development leader who led award-winning programs at Google before focusing on the Muslim community. As an executive director of the BAMC, Bay Area Muslim Council, he advances civic literacy and participation. He's also a certified coach, husband, and a father of two. So please give a warm welcome for Brother Kareem Elsayed.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. The energy today is just not there, huh? Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Okay, a little bit better. Needs work, though. I'd like to reiterate our brother's instruction. Please come closer. I promise I won't bite. I will not stand and prowl about here and like I did last time. So please, I would love if you can come a little bit closer, inshallah, and make space for everybody. All right. So today, I'm excited to. Who was here last time I was here? Just curious. Show of hands. A couple people. Okay. Good. That's great. So today I want to talk to you about the Sunnah of Civic Engagement. And like, you're probably thinking, civic engagement? Like, what does that have to do with the Sunnah, right? Let's find out together, inshallah. A couple things I want to go over today. One, discuss what is the Sunnah of Civic Engagement, give you some examples, give you the proof for it. And then also talk about a new strategy and this new organization that I've joined and become a part of. And I want to take you on that journey with me and talk about serving on a board and commission. I'm sort of letting the cat out of the bag before we get started. So, but it is what it is. All right, so let's get started. Sunnah of Civic Engagement. I want to tell you a story. Start by telling you a story of Ashab al-Sabt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this group of people in Surah Al-A'raf. He says, وَاسْأَلْهُمْ عَنِ الْقَرْيَةِ الَّتِي كَانَتْ حَاضِرَةَ الْبَحْرِ إِذْ يَعْدُونَ فِي السَّبْتِ إِذْ تَأْتِيهِمْ حِيتَانُهُمْ يَوْمَ سَبْتِهِمْ شُرَّعًا وَيَوْمَ لَا يَسْبِتُونَ لَا تَأْتِيهِمْ كَذَلِكَ نَبْلُوهُمْ بِمَا كَانُوا يَفْسُقُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the Prophet, ask them about the people of the town, which was by the sea. So you have to imagine this town. Think of like in the olden days, right? A town by the sea is probably a fishing town. That's where they get their food. That's where they get their sustenance. That's where they do trade, right? So fishing, probably a big deal for them. So these people were Bani Israel. Okay, and Bani Israel, as you know, have the concept of the Sabbath. The Sabbath is what? Who knows what the Sabbath is? Day of rest, yeah? What else? So what does that mean? What can they not do on the Sabbath? Trade. Fish, yeah, exactly. They can't work. So rest, opposite of rest is work. So they can't work, which includes fishing, trade, all these things. So they're supposed to not fish on this day. But what happened? During the Sabbath, by the way, when is the Sabbath? Saturday, okay. But be more specific. When does it start? A little louder? Friday night. Friday night when? Even more specific. Midnight? No, a little earlier. Sunset, yes. Because Bani Israel, they have the same calendar as us in terms of like a lunar calendar. So for them, the day starts at the Maghrib of the night before. So the Sabbath for them actually starts on Friday night, Friday evening. So they were not allowed to fish starting Friday evening until Saturday evening, Saturday Maghrib. So those 24 hours. But they thought they could outsmart Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hasha lillah. Like what kind of madness is this? So Allah says during the Sabbath, abundant fish would come to them, clearly visible. But on the other days, the fish were never seen. What an awful, thing. Imagine you're Bani Israel, you're like a fishing town, and then Allah's testing you. And then He sends the fish, they arrive on Friday at Maghrib, and they leave Saturday at Maghrib. What are you going to do? Can't catch the fish. Can't catch the fish. So they thought, we're going to outsmart Allah. We're going to put our nets out at Asr time, and we'll pick them up after Isha on Saturday. This is how they think, right? Or how a group of them thought, to be precise. So Allah says, we tested them for their rebelliousness. Then Allah tells more about the story. And it's very important to look at the details that Allah shares in the story. Okay? إِذْ قَالَتْ أُمَّةٌ مِّنْهُمْ لِمَ تَعِظُونَ قَوْمًا اللَّهُ مُهْلِكُهُمْ أَوْ مُعَذِّبُهُمْ عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا. There came a group, and they were asking, why are you advising? So there are three groups of people. Okay? So there were the people who broke the Sabbath. Those are the people who thought they could outsmart Allah. Then there were the people who were advising those people, cut it out, knock it off, don't do this, stop disobeying Allah. And then there was a third group. And the third group were these people. They said, why? And they were blaming the people who were trying to stop the ones who were breaking the Sabbath. They said, why are you wasting your breath? Why are you wasting your time advising these people who are, just disobeying Allah so blatantly? Why do you bother to warn those Sabbath breakers who will either be destroyed or severely punished by Allah? Because back in those days, Allah was very, let's say, direct. If you disobeyed Him and persisted in that, you received an immediate punishment. And they said, قالوا معذرة إلى ربكم ولعلهم يتقون. They said this as how do they translate it? To be free from your Lord's blame, and perhaps they may abstain. Maybe they'll stop. So they did this to free themselves from the obligation and the responsibility in front of Allah to say something, to stop this wrongdoing. And by the way, maybe they would stop. Right? So three groups. Right? You guys are with me? The three groups are the people who were sinners. They were breaking the Sabbath. The people who were advising them, and then the people who were complaining about the people who were advising them. Okay? Let's see what happens next. فَلَمَّا نَسُوا مَا ذُكِّرُوا بِهِ. So maybe the reminders worked for a little bit, but then they ignored those reminders. فَلَمَّا نَسُوا مَا ذُكِّرُوا بِهِ أَنْجَيْنَا الَّذِينَ يَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ السُّوءِ. It's very interesting how Allah breaks this down. We save those people who used to warn against evil. وَأَخَذْنَا الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا بِعَذَابٍ بَئِيسٍ بِمَا كَانُوا يَفْسُقُونَ. We took those people with a dreadful punishment for their rebelliousness. Very interesting. Allah only mentions two groups. Well, clearly we see the sinners, and we see the people who used to enjoin the right and forbid the wrong. What about that third group? The Mufassirun look at this and they come up with different approaches, different opinions. Some of them say these people were so insignificant, so inconsequential in the history of humanity that they are not even worth mentioning. Allah didn't even talk about them. What was their outcome? What was their result? Who cares? But others, including Ibn Taymiyyah, he says that actually those people were folded into the group that was destroyed and received the punishment of Allah. This is scary business, okay? And this is actually confirmed by another hadith when the Prophet ﷺ says, إِنَّ النَّاسَ إِذَا رَأَوْا الظُّلْمَ. When people see oppressor, or zalim, when they see an oppressor, فَلَمْ يَأْخُذُوا عَلَى يَدَيْهِ, and they don't do anything to stop it, this wrongdoing. Ushaku, it's probable, the probability is high, أن يعمهم الله بعقاب منه, that Allah will punish them all, that they will all be overtaken by Allah's punishment. So when there's wrongdoing happening in the world, and we see it, and we do nothing, the Prophet ﷺ is saying, I'm afraid that if you do that, if you're like that, then you will be swept up in the punishment as well. Which kind of gives strength to the opinion of Ibn Taymiyyah in this case. Why am I telling you this? Because sometimes when we think about civic engagement, when we think about civil service, when we think about politics, I hate that word. There's this joke, I don't know if you guys heard this before. What is politics? How do you define politics? Have you guys heard this one? Poly comes from the Greek many, and ticks being blood-sucking insects. You guys heard that one? I love that one. I don't like politics. We don't talk about politics. We're talking about civil service, okay? Because what we're talking about is actually transforming and changing the society around us, enjoining what is right, forbidding what is wrong. Because if we don't, we're in big trouble. We might be taken by some kind of severe punishment. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains the purpose of our very, how do I say this, existence. The existence of messengers in the first place. Like, why did Allah even create the world like this? He says, لَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلَنَا بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ وَأَنزَلْنَا مَعَهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْمِيزَانَ لِيَقُومَ النَّاسُ بِالْقِسْطِ. What is the reason? Why, Allah, did you send messenger after messenger, prophet after prophet after prophet? Why? Did you give them the scale? Why? Did you give them the message, the books? So that people can establish justice. The goal of prophethood, of messengers, is to establish justice. And what is justice if not the removal of oppression and bringing about benefit, right? Like that's the goal. That's what the Sharia is all about. If you look at the maqasid of Sharia, the 5 intentions, you can say, intents of the Sharia, there are 5, and all of them are about, preserving and protecting different aspects of our lives, and we're going to get to that later. But this is the reason why Allah sent down this stuff. And when we learn Islam, unfortunately, for a lot of us, we learn it like in Sunday school or, like those types of settings. And it's always like, okay, beta, like you better pray your, namaz, and you better, and if you don't, you're going to hell. And we don't hear about it this way. Like, or even if it's not like the shaming, blaming approach, it's the, well, just pray your taraweeh and, do your fast and, live a comfortable life, pray in the nice, mashallah, beautiful masjid, and, you're going to Jannah. Yeah, that's it. Secularized, that's a good word, yeah. But the reality is far different than that. Islam is about change. It's about engaging with the world around you and changing it and bringing about justice. A couple just quick points on this. Prophet ﷺ said, give victory, give aid to your brother, whether they are the oppressor or the oppressed. And they said, okay, we get if they are oppressed, we come to their aid, we help them, we fight with them, whatever. If they're an oppressor, how do we, the language in Arabic also, there's a connotation. Like, how do we give them aid? How do we support them if they are the oppressor? And he says, by preventing them from oppressing others. And he says, تَأْخُذُ فَوْقَ يَدَيْهِ, like put your hand over their hand. Basically, like, if they're coming to strike, you put their hand down. Like, enough. Right? So stopping oppression, stopping wrongdoing is something that we're instructed to do. And then also, I couldn't fit this on a slide with the Arabic, so you just get the English. The most beloved people to Allah, أَحَبُّ النَّاسِ إِلَى اللَّهِ أَنْفَعُهُمْ لِلنَّاسِ, the most beneficial of them to people. So if you are beneficial to people, you are most beloved to Allah. And it's a very long hadith, but the gist of it, and especially this like, it blows my mind every time I read this. That I walk with a brother regarding a need is more beloved to me than I seclude myself in this masjid in Medina for a month. Okay, so imagine not doing i'tikaf here in WVMA, LGIC, not for 10 days, last 10 nights of Ramadan, for a whole month. Imagine the good deeds you get, right? You're sitting there, you're worshiping, you're literally doing nothing but pray, fast, dhikr, Quran, pray. Yeah. And he says that I go help someone in something. Oh, he got a flat tire. Oh, car out of battery. I need to go get him a thing. His phone charger, he lost his phone. Whatever, something small. That I do that and walk with my brother to help them in the thing that they need help with is more beloved to me than doing i'tikaf for 30 days. What kind of Islam is this that we have been taught, where we only focus on worship, worship, worship? What is the real worship? What is the real essence? It's actually bringing benefit to people, okay? And just to prove this, the Prophet ﷺ explicitly says it. Al-Iman, bid'un wa sab'un aw bid'un wa sittuna shu'bah. The Iman is 60 some odd or 70 some odd branches. And part of it, قول لا إله إلا الله, saying لا إله إلا الله. وأدناها إماطة الأذى عن الطريق. The lowest branch of Iman, which means this is part of Iman, is removing something harmful from the roadway. So, I don't know if you guys remember, I live in Santa Clara, so right by Mercado, the one on 101 used to be just awful. Potholes. It's like fixing the road is part of Iman. That's part of your Iman. Okay, now I want to give you two more examples. So we established bringing justice, doing what's good, bringing benefit, ending oppression. I'm going to give you two examples now the Prophet ﷺ gave. Okay? So there was this guy. So back in Mecca was like a trading town, right? People would come, they would come for Hajj, Umrah, whatever. And what made Mecca special is, you could come and you could trade. And so this Yemeni guy, this guy comes from Yemen, he's a trader, comes to Mecca, he's got his stuff, he makes a deal with Al-As ibn Wa'il. Al-As ibn Wa'il. Who recognizes that name? Anybody knows who is Al-As ibn Wa'il? You might recognize his son. Amr ibn Al-As, yeah. So he was one of the big guys of the Quraysh, like the council. He's on the board, he's like kind of like that guy. And Al-As makes a deal with him and he's like, I am changing the deal. I'm changing the arrangement. Pray I don't change it any further. I don't know if anybody gets that. Yeah, thank you. So he decides he's not going to pay him as much or whatever, the details of it. So this Yemeni guy goes up to the mountaintop and he starts saying this like poetry about how he was wronged and he came to Mecca and how, he expected safety. And so the Meccan people, they convened a council and they came into this place of Abdullah ibn Jud'an and they made an agreement. And this agreement was called Hilf al-Fudul, that they would protect and bring the rights and the justice to anyone in the town of Mecca. Now the Prophet ﷺ participated in this when he was, anybody know how old? 20 years old. So this is way before the message. So he says about this instance, he said, I witnessed a pact of justice in the house of Abdullah ibn Jud'an. It's more beloved to me than a herd of expensive red camels. Now just to put that in perspective, a red camel might be like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or something like that. Like very high class, very, Now a herd of red camels is like, you're like the Ferrari dealership, okay? Like just imagine like how much wealth you have and you own all the inventory. Okay, so he said, I would rather be involved in that pact than, have this Ferrari dealership. Well, that's not what he said, but you know what I mean. And he said, if I were called to it now in the time of Islam, I would respond. So some people, they criticize and they say, oh, getting involved in politics, we wouldn't get involved in, this is a kafir system, these kuffar, this is a kafir system. And the Prophet ﷺ is saying, I would still get involved. Why? Because it brings about justice. I only care about bringing justice. And he goes further, and he goes on to instruct us to make such pacts to restore rights to their owners, such that no oppressor has strength over the oppressed. So are you seeing just how big of a deal establishing justice is? Let me give you one more example about bringing benefit. And this is the example of Yusuf alayhi salam. Yusuf, as we know, what a life he lived, comes out of the jail. The king says, وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ ائْتُونِي بِهِ أَسْتَخْلِصْهُ لِنَفْسِي. Bring him to me, I will employ him in my service. I like this Yusuf guy. I want to bring him out of the jail. فَلَمَّا كَلَّمَهُ قَالَ إِنَّكَ الْيَوْمَ لَدَيْنَا مَكِينٌ أَمِينٌ. Said, today you are highly esteemed and fully trusted by us. Of course, Yusuf is the one who explained the dream about the cows and the thin cows, in fact. And so he explains what's going on, and he knows that it's going to be rough. They're going to go through some tough times ahead. What does Yusuf alayhi salam say when the king finally he gets his freedom? The first thing he does, it's like, let me go on vacation. I'm going to Disneyland. No. He says, قَالَ جَعَلْنِي عَلَى خَزَائِنِ الْأَرْضِ إِنِّي حَفِيظٌ عَلِيمٌ. He says, make me be the one who is in charge of the storehouses of the land, because I am reliable, I am adept, I can do this. He is asking to be appointed to a board and commission. He's asking for a role in the government. This is a kuffar government, okay? Like, let's just be very clear. He is a prophet of Allah, joining a kafir government in the role of, minister of whatever. I don't know what you call it, planning commission. I don't know, something like that. He decided, and he wanted to do that. Of course, we know this, the rest of the story, but I just want to highlight that point. So what do we take from these two examples? We take the lesson: do what you can, where you are, with what you have. Prophet ﷺ, before the prophethood, he didn't wait to become a prophet to establish justice. He was already trying to do it. He was already involved in it. He didn't wait. Yusuf alayhi salam, he knew that he was the one who could bring about so much benefit and avert so much harm. He had the right mind, he had the right skills, he had the right heart. And so he said, let me do it, let me get involved. So every one of us has a responsibility and an obligation. And the Prophet ﷺ says that, كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ أَلَا كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. That every one of you is a shepherd and every one of you is responsible for their flock. And he goes into details and he gives different examples. The man and the woman and the father and the whatever, until the very end. أَلَا فَكُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. He repeats it again. You, all of you, definitely for sure are shepherds. The shepherd what? Takes care of the flock. And you're responsible for that flock. So we all have an obligation. We all have a responsibility for this. Now, this slide was supposed to have builds. Dang it. All right. One other interesting thing to note. The Sahaba, radiallahu anhu, after the futuhat, after the victories, they opened the lands of Arabia and the Roman Empire, Byzantine Empire, the Persian Empire. What did they do? Did they go back to Medina and start worshiping all day and all night? No. They got involved in governance. Salman al-Farisi went back to his people, basically. He went back to Madain and he became the governor. Amr ibn al-As, who we mentioned his father earlier, became the governor of Egypt. Abu Ubaidah became the governor of Ash-Sham. Abu Bakr was involved in leading Medina. Umar was involved in leading the Khilafah itself. And just on Umar, Michael Hart ranks him as number 52, and he has this book called The 100 most influential people in human history. Guess who's number one? Prophet Muhammad. Sallallahu alaihi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then he goes into other people, Gutenberg and Isaac Newton and blah, 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 Einstein. Number 52, Umar ibn Khattab. Why? Is it because victories in war and stuff? No, it's actually because of his civil administration. It's because he comes up with all this stuff. He created the Hijri calendar. He established the Diwan, which is a public welfare registry. Basically, universal basic income. You know how these tech billionaires are talking about this now? We had it a long time ago. Welfare, right? Planned cities, as if this is a modern invention. No, he had that. Basra and Kufa. Bayt al-Mal, of course, it was an institution. He built on that. Judicial independence, in term limits and mandatory audits for governors. And he would weigh their assets before and after service to make sure that they didn't enrich themselves while they were in government. Tell that to the current administration. He built roads, bridges, canals, including the canal connecting the Nile to the Red Sea. There was one, but he, improved it. The postal service for the Muslims was established under Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu. And he would walk the streets of Medina at night. We know the famous stories. And one man, finally they came looking for Umar. Where is this great Khalifa, Amir al-Mu'mineen? Where is his palace? They said, oh, actually he's over there. He's sleeping under the tree. He had his shoes, he put his shoes as a pillow, and he's sleeping in the middle of the day, broad daylight. And the man said, Hakamta, fa'adilta, fa'aminta, fa'nimta ya Umar. He said, you governed, you were just, you were safe. I don't know why I'm getting errors. Come on. No. Okay, reopen. Let's see if it will go away. So you were safe, so you slept in peace, Ya Umar. So beautiful. This is our example of what it means to like care for a people and to bring about change and improve their lives. Why? Because Allah told us. This is our way. Bring about justice. Bring about benefit. How are we doing on time, by the way? How much time do I have? Anybody? 28? Yeah, thank you. So, many of you have heard this hadith before. Whoever has seen something evil, let them change it with their hand. If they can't, let them change it with their tongue. If they can't, let them change it with their heart. And that is the weakest of iman. So I'm going to build on this. Sister Noah, you haven't seen this one. The 10 levels of enjoining the right and forbidding the wrong. And again, I forgot to add the builds. Don't read ahead, okay? Stay with me. 10 levels of enjoining the right and forbidding the wrong. Actually, it starts with level -1, which is doing wrong, doing oppression. Obviously, none of us are doing that. Inshallah, may Allah prevent us from doing that. Level 0, you have no iman. It doesn't bother you. Oppression happens, you don't care. Inshallah, none of us are at that level. The lowest level of iman is 1, level 1, with your heart. You don't like it, you make dua, that's it. Level 2 is protest. And the reason why I put protest so low is because many people, by the way, when we say like getting involved in politics, many people think of 2 things, maybe 3. They think protests, they think voting, and they think maybe, if they're very sophisticated, fundraising for candidates. That's like what Muslims think about when we think about like getting involved in the system. Protests, it's great. Like it's important, as we see the example of Umar radiallahu anhu, who said, when I converted, we marched on the Kaaba that day, headed by 2 rows. I was in the first one, Hamza was in the second, and for the first time, we prayed in public, like a demonstration. Is there sunnah for this? Yes, this is from the seerah, but you know, an argument can be made. Anyway, so that's what happens. But does protest actually bring about change? I had a feeling something happened there. Hold on, I got it. Oh no, I think the connection is bad. Let's try again. Are we back? Nope. Wrong one. Yeah. Okay. So protest, there's a sunnah for protest. That's speaking out, by the way. And there are many levels of speaking out, right? Like you can speak out by doing like the easy stuff, like the online stuff, like petitions or social media posting or letter to the editor. Like don't underestimate those things. They're not bad, but is it really going to bring about change directly? Less. Speaking out by voting. That's also an important one. We have the Sunnah of Shura. We live in a representative democracy. So like definitely make sure you register to vote if you're legally eligible to do so, and that you actually vote, okay? And especially in the primaries. Primaries are actually probably more important than the general. But anyway, that's coming up in June. Speaking out by voting. Speaking out by calling an official. Many times we get those alerts, right? CARE sends out a thing, and it's like, hey, call your congressman. And that's good. Ad-din al-nasiha. Our deen, our way of life is sincerity. And قالوا liman, to whom, Ya Rasulullah? قالوا قال لله, to Allah, to his book, to his messenger, and the leaders of the Muslims. So these leaders, these are our leaders. I mean, our mayors, our congressmen, whatever. So being sincere, giving sincere advice to them, giving them some input, it's important, absolutely. But let's keep going. Speaking out by attending a public meeting. Who here was involved in the CUP hearings for the masjid here? Who showed up, went to that, saw the Zoom? Yeah. That's very important, right? Like we got a taste of what it means to get involved in civic life because it has to do with our rights to worship in this masjid, in this city, right? But even better than that is attending a private meeting, getting even more involved, and speaking up on that. And then what I really want to focus on is number 8, and then I'm going to go on like a whole thing on that. Serving on a board and commission. Did you know? Okay, so by the way, my background is not civic engagement, not any of that. Like I'm a former engineer turned coach. Like I have nothing to do with this stuff. But I got involved in BAMC because I learned about this. Did you know that there's this thing called boards and commissions? Like, how does a city govern itself? On a city council that meets once a week with like a couple hours. Is that possible? Of course not. So they have these things called boards and commissions. They have like a planning commission and the Parks and Recreation and the youth commission and the police oversight, all kinds of different things, school boards. And they assign other people to do that stuff for them. Did you know that there is listings of these on the websites for different cities and county and whatever? They're looking for people. They're empty positions. They're kind of dying for people. Sometimes these positions go unfilled, where you can direct policies that will affect the actual fabric of the society around us. Muslims, did you know this? Did anybody ever know this or heard of this before? Allahu Akbar, we have two sisters, mashallah. They're like looking for people, okay? That's number 8. Number 9, running for office. Of course, there's a big benefit to that. If you are a just ruler, you get the shade of Allah on the day that there is no shade but His shade. And then the last one, number 10, which is what BAMC is all about, is enabling others to do these things. This is starting from number 2 onward. Man dalla ala khayrin falahu mithlu ajri fa'ilih. Whoever guides someone to goodness will have a reward like the one who did it. So this is my subtle way of encouraging you all to actually get involved in the Bay Area Muslim Council and help others to know about this. Like, what I want you to walk away with from this session is you can actually make a change. Like, it's not hard. You go tonight, you fill out the application, it takes you 5 minutes, you get picked. Next month, you're on this commission making changes. Like, it's that straight up, like that direct, and they're looking for people, okay? So let me talk a little bit about BAMC and this new strategy, right? Because in the past, and we kind of talked about this, we really focused on big issues, hot button topics, financing, candidates. We're very reactive before. But what we're trying to do with this new organization is to actually be proactive, long-term focus, and hyper local focus. Because, as we saw here in the CUP issue with this masjid, like, it directly affects the lives of the people living in the districts, right? So we want to also build this leadership pipeline. Young people like yourselves, why can't you be the next Zoran Mamdani? Why not? Like, you totally could. Guess what? Zoran got a start in local politics, and then he got involved in the state assembly, and then he got involved, and then he, put this campaign for mayor. So you definitely can do that. And we want to have continuous engagement with these elected officials. How do you do this? We want to develop basically a network of these leaders and get people involved. So I'm going to kind of blaze through this because the main thing that we're focusing on is this one, right? Serving on boards and commissions. How do you do that? We talked about that. So BAMC, we have 2 organizations, a C3 and a C4. You don't need to know that. But the main thing that we're focused on is training and serving on local boards and commissions. We also care about policy development, building coalitions, driving these outcomes, and we have like some data projects. If you're a software developer, which I'm guessing many of you are, please join us. We have a committee on that. We have a representative of that committee here today. Okay, serving on a board commission. Like, I have 5 minutes left. I'm going to tell you in 5 minutes how to do this. Like, it's that simple. So what we want to do is influence policies at the local level, right? And some people, maybe they'll like this, maybe they will want to run for office. Probably not everyone, and that's okay. But we want to change it where you don't think that, like, hey, I called my congressman, or I sent an email, or I signed a petition, khalas, I did my part, or I showed up at a protest. Everyone should be on a border commission. There's a youth commission, by the way, like even for like young ages as well, right? So everyone should think like part of my Islamic obligation is to be involved in one of these commissions, right? And when you do that, you start to have these relationships with policymakers. We start to have kind of a way in. So you guys know Razi Uncle, who's like, founder of this place. Why do we have a way, like an in with the planning commission it's because he was on a commission before. He knows these people, he's worked with them. So he has the hookup, right? Like he knows them, right? So that's what we want. We want to have the relationships so that we can advance our principles of justice and compassion for all. And also to give back, right? Like who has the best way of life? We do. Who has the guidance for humanity? We do. Let's help them. Let's help these people live a better quality of life. So how do you serve? So we talked about every city has these boards and commissions: planning, traffic and safety, library, youth. These are appointed and not elected, 2 to 4 year terms, and they advise city council, they review staff proposals, and they bring in community input. What are the qualifications? What do you need to be? You need a heartbeat, okay? That's number one. That's what they're looking for, right? No, you're eligible to vote, right? Like you're a citizen, right? You're 18 years old. I think many of you are, most of you are. You live in the city that you're trying to serve or county, and it's like 6 to 10 hours a month, which is nothing. We probably do that on Instagram in like a day, or is it TikTok? I don't know. And it's like you just have like a couple meetings, like 1 or 2 meetings, right? Maybe once a week, once every other week. How do you find them? You find the openings. It's usually a quick application. You have an interview with the city council, and then you just show up and attend these meetings. BAMC can help, by the way. We can prep you for the interview. We can prep you, help you with the application. Sister Noha is here from our team, and you can talk to me as well afterward. She's helped a few people with that as well already. And it might sound scary. It's like something different, new, you haven't done it before, but like it's actually very easy, right? And so we want to make it easy. Literally, all you do, go Google this, okay, or whatever. Don't use Google, use some other search engine. But search for commission vacancies. You'll find it. By the way, we have a master list as well. If you're, tell me what city you live in, and we can hook you up. Terms, sometimes they have cutoffs, so we can tell you when that is as well. And we'll help you find it. We'll help you find the application, fill it out, prepare for the interview. We want to make it super easy for you. All right. So before I leave, who here is like interested and they think that's something that they would do? Few people, right? No. Volunteer? It's you apply. So you have to apply for the position and they have to accept. But yeah, it is volunteer role. So Sister Noha, I don't know if you saw those people. Every one of you should talk to one of us afterward. Inshallah, we're going to hook you up. Get involved with BAMC, get out your phones. We have a Luma calendar for our events. We have a newsletter so you can find out what's coming on the events side. Probably if you're going to do one of those QRs, do the newsletter one. That way you can get on our mailing list and you can find out all of our events. And then I'll give you a second to do this. A minute? Okay. And then we also have WhatsApp and Signal for those who are more privacy minded. Please scan your QR codes now. Get involved. We'd love to help you out, inshallah. Find out about our events as well. And I just want to close with this last ayah. Allah is instructing us, وَلْتَكُمْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ, that there be a group of you, يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ, calling to what is good. يَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ, they encourage what is good, they forbid what is evil. وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ, those are the people who are successful. So often we think success is like in the dunya sense. No, it's in bringing about a change. That's what our religion is all about. That's what BAMC is trying to do. Please let us help you do that. جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك. نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت. نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, Brother Kareem, for the insightful presentation on making an impact. Hopefully everyone got the QR codes, but if you haven't, you can speak to him or Sister Noha right here afterwards. Tomorrow evening, we're actually going to have a conditional use permit meeting at 7 p.m. at the Los Gatos Town Hall, and each person makes a difference. I know last time a lot of people pulled up on the other side, so you want to, do even better this time. And then next week, we're going to have pathways at the same time. So look out on the Instagram for more details. We did change the time to start at 7 p.m. this time. So I know some people might have been used to like the past 2 weeks starting at 8. Just keep like in mind, just take a look at the WhatsApp and the Instagram to get those those updates. And then thank you so much to everyone who came for the picnic this weekend. It was really nice. Inshallah, we're going to have a lot more socials every month. And yeah, say salam to someone new. And for people who don't know, Aisha is going to be in around 8. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Maghrib, don't worry. But inshallah, when we do pray Aisha, I'll get the good rewards because I just reminded you. But yeah, through both sets of double doors for the women, and then men just follow some other men and go from the outside for the men's prayer hall. Jazakallah khair. Maghrib is going to be at 7:52.